So I'll take things I didn't expect to say for 500 because, honestly, I'm now rooting for Coco, and I haven't been the supporter that I think anyone expects me to be right now, but turns out Coco is actually kind of best boy in a way. Now don't get me wrong, when I say best boy, there's multiple best boys in any given show, but the fact that he's actually didn't want to use his ability to like manipulate or to haunt people, but seemingly his partner in crime here is the one pulling the strings and manipulating him, seemingly with a form of brainwashing himself, because it does feel like it's more than just someone whispering sweet nothings in your ear. It kind of felt to me like there was some abilities at play as well, because for a guy who's basically haunted at constantly being at second place, I mean, immediately when you hear that, I was like, okay, at this point, he's gonna win the Harvest Festival if they're trying to harp on him only ever getting second place. Like, there's no way they're not gonna give him first place. But the fact that it turns out he just wants to be seen as a normal, nice guy, and everyone misjudges him, thinks he's like some crazy, evil bastard. And I'm like, okay, I'm surprisingly liking Coco for being a character who was looking like he was just forcing people to face their deepest and darkest fears. How do you turn a character like that into someone who's lovable and respectful and rootable? Well, you make it seem like he's actually just trying his best, and the evil-like things that he's doing is actually not because he wanted to, but because he was forced to, without even really realizing it, and that's kind of heartbreaking, I have to admit. I mean, I was under the impression that the Misfit class needed to win this Harvest Festival in order to keep the classroom. Turns out there is still another competition that they'll be able to go into in order to reach the right ranks to keep it, so even if they were to lose here, it's not completely game over, it turns out. So if Coco ends up winning, I mean, on one hand, Misfit class still has potential to secure their class. On the other hand, Coco may actually be seen as a nice guy. But then you might also want to argue, well, if Coco ends up winning, but he wins because of half of it due to this manipulation, is that really the victory he would want? So it's kind of up in the air on the direction they're going, but either way, I wasn't expecting to praise Coco because honestly, I thought he was the scumlord of the season. I mean, every time we've seen him, he just seems like he's looking at someone and making them face their trauma. I mean, what he did to Clara in this episode was beyond cruel. I mean, for a girl who, if we remember, it's been a hot minute since this, but like the intro arc for Clara in season 1 was basically her not wanting Irma to ask her things because she can just bring anything out of her little bag there, right? So the fact that her greatest fear was Irma coming and saying, give me a drink, and then just spiraling into, like, you're just so horrible to deal with, I felt bad for her. Even though I knew it wasn't gonna last and, like, Clara would think forever that Irma was like this, it was still very heartbreaking. But to finally get to see our boy come in, like the knight in shining armor that he wants to be with that bow, I thought they were about to blue balls this, I'm not gonna lie. I did have doubts in Irma in terms of what they just did because we just see the shot afterwards, but thankfully we get to see it from his perspective as well. So honestly, the entire package was just a chef's kiss if you ask me, because just seeing him ride in, of course, the queen giving the beast to ride on because now you're gonna owe her one. Nothing's ever free in this competition. But the fact that they're too far away and all the training just comes paying off and he just snipes it from that distance, you just felt proud, man. You just feel proud of the characters in general, whether it's Lead, basically, you know, he has like no strength, no mana left, and he's still honing in on Clara because he knows like they need to save her. And just to see how all the characters are working together, I just really got a kick at seeing the Misfit class in general really basically reflect on their teachings, reflect on how they can use it in the present day. But the fact of the matter was, in the middle of an arc where we're winding down, right? The Harvest Festival is getting closer and closer to coming to an end, and you casually make the villain, seemingly, of this entire arc, the person who really is the only one standing in Irma's way. He seemingly cashed in the pot there, though they did direct it in a way that made it seem like, was that actually someone that was collecting, or was that one of those situations where our boy is actually just collecting the points for himself? Because honestly, that seems like a likely bet. But all things considered, you know, the villain of the arc, Coco, turns out is actually just a nice guy being manipulated by the true villain of this arc, and honestly, I didn't see that coming at all. I mean, I've been a big supporter of the Harvest Festival and this season of Irma in general, but holy, I was not expecting to like this episode as much as I did. They're still having fun with the fan servicey kind of pervy side of things, and I really like what they're doing because I love the concept of when you have like a busty character in anime, and like characters, they get noticeably flustered, but Irma being Irma, just having her like zip it and then zip it back up, just off and on, seeing how they like are basically foaming at the mouth, drooling, to then like, wait, what's going on? Why are we doing this? Oh yes, whatever you say, mistress, we'll do whatever you want. The fact that we were like this close, like a second away from her attempting to use 100% of her seduction on someone in a cage, had they not come in during that moment, I mean, I don't, honestly, maybe this is an overreaction, but I mean, someone at 100% like emotional distress of being manipulated by your chemical imbalances here, that could have like sent someone into a heart attack, stroke, and you might not wake up from that. So I mean, I'm gonna go on my own headcanon that had Iruma and company not charged in there, we might have had a dead body. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe that's a little over exaggeration, but it's fun to think about, if not a little terrifying. But they're having fun, man. It really feels like any character can lead the show, and seriously, just the fact that you can take a character outside of the Misfit class who I was like, man, I can't wait to see the scumbag lose, to say, oh man, now I'm conflicted. Do I want Iruma to win? Do I want Coco to win? Can't we all just win and have fun, except the people actually manipulating things behind the scenes? And then they just even casually end the episode with a fiery fist of death. I'm not sure if that actually hit Coco or not, because if that did, wouldn't that mean he's about to be removed from the entire competition? But then again, maybe that was just an attack that stops something from attacking, so maybe it doesn't count as a disqualification. I don't know. But either way, man, this was a strong episode. Really, there's been a consistent string of strong episodes just every week. But I mean, from last week being a great fun time to this one being a kind of a exhilarating, shocking, and frightening fun time. I mean, this season of Iruma is not missing. It's hands down the best Iruma season, and really, it just feels like it's getting better each season, each arc, and honestly, every string of episodes feels like it's keeping the quality up and the momentum going. I'm interested to see, though, like, what the final point tally will be, because if he actually did submit it to someone who was legit, Coco has a ridiculous amount of points banked. If it was another student, then that means Coco probably has no points. So if that's the case, the only way I could see him actually winning is if he steals Iruma's egg or whatever the hell he has there, and then in return, maybe with a combination of other things that would let him win. But if that's the case, then I don't know, like, who's actually going to end victorious? Like, they could really sucker punch us, and neither Iruma or Coco could end up winning, and I'm just gonna be sitting here being like, well, I didn't see that one coming. But I gotta say, that was a twist. That was a very, very fun twist, and I never expected to be a Coco supporter, and honestly, I'm okay being one now. It all is basically a misunderstanding, and he's been manipulated himself, and in doing so, you turned a character I was kind of despising but liking as a villain into one that, damn, can you join the Misfit class now? Because I really like you. But thoughts and feelings yourself down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Be sure to ring that bell so you can get as many notifications on the channel as possible. I do have a bunch of live reactions going on over on my Patreon, and while you're there, you can also get a video shout out like a few are about to get here. So we got George, Harry, Truscott, and Hermes Hemp. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.